Hi, this is Natalie Rydstrom from SportsBookReview.com. West Ham and Tottenham go head-to-head for their first Premier League match of the season. Now, the three-way line has value, but picking the winner is the tough part. But joining us now to give us his insight is betting pundit Lee Phelps from William Hill's In Play Radio. Lee, thanks for being here today.
No problem. Tough one to call, this one, I think.
Certainly is. Well, looking at the three-way line, we've got a slight shift in the match odds here since last week's early preview with sports writer Kevin Stott. The visitors, Tottenham, remain the favourites with a slight drop from 2.2 to 2.1. That's with William Hill. The draw remains the same at 3.4, whilst West Ham's price has gone from 3.5 to 3.7 with Bet Victor, which is good news for Kevin, as he was actually leaning towards the underdogs in this match. I personally like the Spurs, but he made reference to the fact that Spurs haven't been beaten at West Ham, haven't beaten West Ham in their last three head-to-heads, both home and away, and West Ham, of course, do have the home advantage. What are your thoughts here, Lee?
Yeah, that head-to-head record is interesting because I don't take too much notice of head-to-heads when people start quoting seasons gone by, but that was obviously last season with a lot of the same players. I'm going to be really interested to see how Spurs go this season because obviously they really failed in replacing Gareth Bale last time. But a lot of those same players are still there, Natalie, and the likes of Soldado, Lamella, Eriksson, Holtby, they haven't turned into bad players. Paulinho as well. They're not bad players. It just takes players a while to settle into the English league. And I think we saw signs of it at times last season, signs of brilliance from some of them. Now, if three of those settle in, great. If all of them settle in, well, Tottenham could really go close to breaking into the top four. I'm not saying they will, but if they all gelled, they could go very close. It's an interesting game, this one, because I think West Ham have recruited quite well. I like Enner Valencia as a signing. I think he might have one really good season in the Premier League, and then maybe we'll tail off. But I think they've done really well there. Zarate's coming, of course, still after Connor Wickham, which, not the best signing in the world, but they obviously want a target man to replace Andy Carroll while he's injured. I'm probably edging towards the draw here. I can see why Kevin went for West Ham, because I think, that head-to-head record and the way they may set up may be difficult for Spurs, but I think Spurs will have something about them this year. Obviously, the new manager as well, Pochettino, didn't start great with Southampton, but started to get results fairly early on. Interestingly, when he was at Southampton, those first few games, they conceded quite a few goals as the players got used to it. So it could be a high scorer. For the more adventurous, I'm going for a 2-2 draw.
2-2 draw there. Just quickly sticking with the winners market, will you play that as a single bet, or as it's a tough one to call, would you just leave that and then focus on other bets for this match?
No, I think I'd go for the draw. I mean, I can make an argument for Spurs, I can make an argument for West Ham, but I just see it as being a draw. And I think by the time you kind of get to the 60th, 61st minute, if you're playing this in play, then if it's a draw then, I think both sides will settle for a draw. Spurs happy to come away with a point to start the season off. Obviously, West Ham happy with a draw against one of the top clubs in English football. So I'd be happy just to play the draw. Okay,
now interesting you say there 2-2 because Kevin Stott and myself in the early preview, we both agreed on the both teams to score market, and that's priced at 1.85. Is that a good price, do you think, both teams to score?
Yeah, I do like it. Like I said, when Mauricio Pochettino took over at Southampton, there were lots of goals in the games early on. Have a look at the fixtures just after he took over. Didn't quite get it right for the first few weeks. So I can see a similar thing happening here. Obviously, better players at Tottenham than they had at Southampton. But I can see, goals being scored and conceded at both ends while it beds in. And the same for West Ham. I think they're going to have a more attacking style. Remember when Sam Allardyce tried to change the style of Bolton way back? I think he might be trying to do a similar thing with West Ham, like not abandoning the long ball game, but just slightly moving it on a little bit into a more of attacking threat. So yeah, I like the overs in the goals. I like both teams to score, and like I said, if you really want a bit of a punt, then 2-2.
All right, 2-2. Pretty adventurous though, I have to say, but I bet there's some good money on that if that comes in.
Yeah, it is adventurous, but if it comes in, I'll be going on about it all the time. If it doesn't, I never mentioned it.
All right. Now, Kevin Stott's official tip for our preview was playing West Ham here to win, although he said that it was a tough match to predict and probably more one to watch, in his opinion. Now, how do you think is the best way to play this match? If there's one or two tips that you were going to take or advise our viewers here, what would it be?
I'd play over 2.5 goals.
Over 2.5.
I just think there'll be goals in the game. Can't see it being a drab game. Like I said, the draw and the outrights, but if you just want to leave the outrights alone, understand the reasonings why, then over 2.5 would be my bet.
All right, Lee Phelps, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.